Peace, peace. What's the deal? We back up in here. What's the deal? What's the deal? All right. Somehow I got this in landscape, but we'll still make this happen. So let me adjust accordingly, and we'll get it in. Hold on. Give me 1 second. All right. Peace. What's the deal? What's up? What's up? All right, we back in here. You already know. Peace. What's up, Moon Spirit? What's up? Hold on. What's up? What's up? What's the deal? What's the deal? What's up, Afro Pit? What's the deal? What's the deal? So, you already know what we're doing. You already know how we getting down. You know, what's going on with everybody before we get in, though? Before we get in, what's up, psychosexual? Much love. You already know it's much love, much light, much respect. You know what I mean? I appreciate you for tuning in. You already know. So like I said, before we get in, y'all let me know what's going on. What's going on in the world. You know what I mean? I got all my tools. Of course, I got the book. We're going to do a little reading. And I got the tablet just in case I need to research. So we could be doing all this in real time. So let's start off with a reading, shall we? Let's see what the energy is for the day. So let's set the mood. Well, hold on. Let me make sure this lighting is right. I didn't mean to go live in landscape. I guess when I pre-scheduled the live stream, I guess it just does it by itself. So let me make sure the lighting is correct. You know what I mean? Make sure everything is good. All right, so let's get it in. Let's shuffle up. Let's see what's going on today. So the title of the video is called The Proverbs of the Wise, Food for the Soul. All right. Let me loosen this up a little bit. All right. Proverbs of the Wise, Food for the Soul. So let's see what's coming up. All right. Okay, so the first card we have here, the Knight of Wands, the Nine of Wands, and what is this? The Six of Wands. All right. So, what's up? What's up? What's up? I see you. We good over here. We good. You know what I mean? We gonna continue. You know, we gonna continue with the madness. What's up, love and light? So the reading. So we only gonna pull 3 cards. You know. So here we go. Knight of Wands, Nine of Wands, Six of Wands. So, for those who may not know, when we're dealing with the tarot, the wands represent your desires, your passions, you know what I mean, the things that motivate you, the spark of life. So the first card we have here is the Knight of Wands. Whenever we're dealing with the Knight, because you have the King, you have the Queen, you have the Knight. Well, hold on. You know, in some tarot decks, there's certain variations. But in the most basic sense, you got the King, the Queen, the Prince, and the Princess. The King is the fire element, the Queen is the water element, the Prince is the air element, and the Princess is the earth element. So because we're dealing with the knight, this is another word for a prince. Now, in some decks, the knight is the king, but in this particular deck, the knight is the prince. So we're dealing with the air element within the suit of wands or the suit of fire. So we're dealing with the air element within the suit of fire. This is why the description of this card says shape shift, change. Right? The reason it's shape shift, let me just keep the photo up here so y'all can study the image. The reason it's called shape shift or change, or the reason it's defined as shape shift and change, because it's dealing with the air element as well as the fire element. It's the air, or you can say the air element represents the thought, represents your thoughts. So whenever we're dealing with the air element, we're dealing with the thoughts. So dealing with the air element within the suits of fire, we're dealing with the thought behind the desires. In other words, before somebody can desire something, a thought has to take place in terms of why would a person desire something? What is the motivation behind the desire? Or you can say even before we deal with thought, we're dealing with consciousness. We're dealing on the level or the state of one's consciousness. So depending on one's states of consciousness is going to hold on, getting tongue twisted. Depending on one's state of consciousness will determine what they desire. So for example, somebody who's, again, I don't want to make this a high and low thing, like somebody on low level consciousness is going to be primordial or is going to be savage. That's obvious. We're going to take it a little further than that. So we can say realms, or we can say portals, you can say dimensions. Depending on one's dimension will determine what they desire. So for example, if you're in a red dimension, you're going to have thoughts that resonate with the color red. If you're in a blue dimension, you're going to have thoughts that resonate with the color blue, so on and so forth. So depending on what dimension that you, hard not to cuss, nah, not really, not no more. It was before. It was the first couple of days, but not really. Nah, it's not really no more. Once you get into the flow of your fast, it gets easier. If you wanted to, if you have enough willpower. But getting back to what I was saying, you have many people that operate on different dimensions. Like for example, somebody's aura may be red, somebody's aura may be blue, somebody's aura may be green, etc., etc., etc. And that color is determined, what's up, Candace? That your aura color is determined based on what you're thinking. So thoughts have colors. Each thought can be connected to a color or a frequency. So depending on what frequency you're in is going to dictate what thoughts that you attract to yourself. So when it comes to the shapeshifter and when it comes to change, this is telling you the science of, if you want to change the frequency of your thoughts, you have to shift the dimension that you're in. For example, how do you do that? And what is that even talking about? Let's go a little deeper. For example, let's just say you're reading this, right? You're reading this. Just by reading this changes your aura color, or any book that has wisdom in it. So not just this book, any book that has wisdom in it changes your aura color. Now, to take it a step further, how you interpret the book further influences your aura color, because you have some people who take this literally, and you have some people who look at the book on a metaphysical level. So you can say those who look at the book from a metaphysical position, their aura will be purple. Those who look at the book in a literal sense, their aura will be red. So the shapeshifter is reminding us that depending on what dimension you're in, what's up, Leandra? Depending on what frequency you're in will determine what type of thoughts you have, and that will determine. Let's go to this next card because we can speak about this in story form. The next card is the Nine of Wands. If you saw my video yesterday, you saw this card, so this card is coming up again. I believe, actually no, this is not the card from yesterday. I'm getting confused. Oh, was it? No, okay, no, it was a whole different card. They all look kind of similar, so this is not the same card as yesterday. So let's speak about it in story form. So the shapeshifter. What's the Nine of Wands? I'm gonna go down the timeline. So I'm just making sure that people understand each individual card. What's up, Ian? What's the deal? I'm just making sure everybody understands each individual card, then we're gonna piece it all together. So once more, the shapeshifter, the changer. This is determined by what frequency you're in, depending on what dimension you choose to navigate. Meaning, are you looking at life from a metaphysical position? What's up? What's up? I see you. Are you looking at life from a metaphysical position, or are you looking at life from a literal perspective? Are you looking at life as a victim, or are you looking at life as a creator? And depending on how you view life will determine the color of your aura, and also will determine what you have the ability to change. Because there are some people who feel like they don't have power over anything. What's a famous saying? A famous saying is, let go and let God. A lot of people say that, right? A lot of religious people say you just got to let go and let God. All right? God, you just put it all in God's hands, because they don't want to hold that pressure. You know what I mean? They like, just let go and let God. All right? I don't want nothing to do with it. I can't do nothing about it. Let go and let God. That determines the frequency of a person's aura. However, those who view themselves as creators look at it as, I have to actually deal with this, and I have to find out a solution. I can't just take it off of my mind and expect for an answer to come. Meaning I have to go into meditation, and I have to go within myself. If I don't know a conscious answer, then I have to go into a meditative state or a trance state and discover an answer that may be beyond my conscious thinking. So whenever your conscious thinking is not enough to solve an issue, then you go to your subconscious thinking, which requires you to have to go into a meditative state. So that's essentially the whole theme of this card, shapeshifter change. We all have the ability to change any situation and to shapeshift into what we need to be to deal with whatever situation we have to deal with. The next card, which is a Nine of Wands, which represents dazed and confused. So as we see, it looks like a lion. He's trapped within these wands, right? So you see this all-powerful lion. You see this super powerful lion. But you see his tail is down. Let me let y'all see this a little further. You see his tail is down. You see he seems pretty passive. He really seems other than himself. A lion, would be a lot more, have a lot more vigor, have a lot more power. This really doesn't look like the king of the jungle. This looks like a lion that, has lost its sense of self. So although the lion is all powerful, as they say, the king of the jungle, even the king of the jungle can lose a sense of self if they become dazed and confused, because they don't know how to deal properly with problems. They don't know how to problem solve. So in other words, even though we are the supreme beings of the universe, even though we are the creators of our reality, you can still be in a state of confusion if you can't make sense of what that truly means. Again, this is not an easy pill to swallow. So I'm not saying this like this is an easy pill to swallow, especially when you've been told the complete opposite your whole life, right? We've been told the complete opposite our whole life. So when you come into this real knowledge, it's a very hard pill to swallow. It is the hardest pill to swallow. So in that process, you have to go through a state of confusion. Like, man, I've been lied to my whole life. I've had this secret power within myself that everybody has been hiding from me, either on purpose or just by ignorance. So when you're going through this state of daze and confusion, this is when you have came into the truth. You have came into the truth. But you have to go through this period of confusion, like, yo, what's going on? Just like in the movie The Matrix. Everybody should have seen The Matrix by now. At least that movie. If you ain't seen nothing else, you should at least have seen that movie. And we know that even Neo had a hard time accepting the truth. He didn't just instantly snap like that, like, okay, I'm okay, cool. It took, he had to go through several trials and tribulations and through a state of confusion before it started to click. So he had to go through that confused and that dazed state. So the Knight of Wands is basically taking you through that shift from victim to creator. And this next phase of that process of you have to go through a state of confusion first, because it's not going to just instantly snap. You have to go through a state of, it just, everybody's different, of course. So how everybody deal with that is different. What's up, Sierra? Or Sarah? So you have to go through this state of confusion first before it makes sense to you. Lastly, we have the Six of Wands, which is the, what does it say? Archetype, victor. So now, once you have went through this state of confusion, now you get your vigor back. You become the victor. All right? So you see how this goes? What's up? Good morning. Top of the morning. Yes, these are tarot cards. This is the Crow's deck for those who want to know. So as we see, so when you get to this state and it starts to click, oh, okay. You start to see things happen in real time. It starts to reflect in your reality. Now you become the archetype of your creation, which makes you the victor, right? So we have the shapeshift, which puts the seed in your mind that you are more than you think you are. This puts the seed in your mind. This is a state of confusion that we all have to go through. And once we go through this state, we become the victor. All right. So that's today's reading. Just to set the foundation, just to set the mood of where we're going to continue to go. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. And again, we may do a couple more readings. I'm not sure how long we're going to be on here. But just to set the foundation of today's energy and just the seed that you should plant in your mind for the rest of the day. And just, see where you are in your personal progress and to see, how you can go to the next level. Whether you're just in a state where all this information is new to you, or you're aware of this information, but you're still kind of confused about it, still not really clicking just yet, or you're in a state where you feel like, okay, I got it now. Now I'm out here showing improvement now at this point. And how can I do that even more? How can I better showcase my archetype? How can I become one with my divinity? In terms of now you become the Osiris. Now you become the Isis. Now you become the Sobek. Now you become the Jesus. Now you become the Muhammad. So on and so forth. Right? So next, we're going to move to, I want to read a couple scriptures from the book. Just to further put things into perspective. All right? So I'm going to be reading from Proverbs, which is in the Old Testament. Proverbs chapter 13. Proverbs chapter 13. Now, what does it say? It says, the first verse, a wise son heeds his father instruction, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. A wise son heeds his father instruction, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. Why don't I go into the Quran for once? I mean, we could actually. If y'all want the Quran, I got it. Yeah, it's Ramadan, most people not Muslims though, I don't think most people who's watching are Muslims. However, I got the Quran on me. If y'all want it, I got it. So I can start at Proverbs, I can read the verse, then I can read from the Quran. If y'all want it, just let me know. I got it. So you know what I mean? If y'all want it, I got it. Trust me. I got what you need. I got all of the good dope. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So the first verse. So this is just letting us know that somebody who's egotistical is not going to allow themselves to be corrected. Somebody who's too egotistical, somebody with an inflated ego, does not allow themselves to be corrected because they feel that they know everything. They feel as if they're right. So they will not allow an elder or somebody who knows more than them. It may not even be an elder. It could be a child. But because they're so inflated that they will not allow themselves to listen to the voice of wisdom. The voice of wisdom can manifest in an elder or a child. But if your ego is too inflated, you can't even hear the voice of wisdom. The Quran has a lot of magical writing. Well, so does the Bible, but the Bible is deeply encoded science. Exactly. So again, it don't matter which book you read, you have to read it from a metaphysical perspective. So you know what I mean? Don't read whatever book you choose, but don't take it literal because there's 7 layers to each book, and depending on where a person is in their spiritual journey, will determine how they interpret that book. So let's continue. Love. Y'all see Phoenix rising. Much love. Let's go to the second verse. A man shall eat well by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the unfaithful feeds on violence. A man shall eat well by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the unfaithful feeds on violence. Right? So what is this talking about? The soul of the unfaithful feeds on violence. Meaning, you can go to any media outlet right now at this very moment, and you will see for yourself that 99% of the time, what we are being fed on a daily basis is violence. Now, they disguise it in the form of, oh, we're just reporting the news. We're just reporting the news. But they're not reporting the news. They are selective about what is being reported. And they specifically focus on violence every single day. That is the main focus. But why is that? See, let's not even beat up the media right now. Let's beat up on the people who watch this, who sit in front of the TV and watch it just like it's entertainment. So the media is going to do what they're going to do. We already know that. But what about the people sitting on their couch watching this every single day? What's up, Marvin and Magi? What's up? You caught me on a lunch break? Yeah, you already know who it is. Shout out to everybody from all over the world, different time zones. So, we're being fed violence, which keeps you on a base level because it makes you think that all your people are savages. See, a little bit later, I'm going to go into the supreme wisdom. So y'all want some Quran? I'm gonna go into some Elijah Muhammad a little bit later. I'm going to go into the supreme wisdom. You know what I mean? So hopefully y'all are ready for that because it's going to go even a step further. So the unfaithful feeds on violence. So those who are unfaithful, their food is violence. So the media is just feeding the unfaithful, because the unfaithful is going to sit on the couch and watch violence every single day and have no problem with it. Now, they may say, oh man, that's messed up. Man, this city is kind of violent. It's crazy everywhere. But they watch it every single day because they're unfaithful. And their food is violence and not wisdom. Let's go a step further. Verse 3. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips have destruction. In other words, those who are unfaithful cannot control their tongues because they are motivated by emotional reactions and not mental discipline. In other words, the wise barely speak. The wise don't care to speak. They don't care to speak. Why do they need to speak, right? They don't need to speak. But those who feel like they need to express every single thing. For example, you have people who get on the phone, right? And gossip for hours about what somebody else is doing. Spewing all type of madness. Oh, F this person, F that person, F that person, they're dumb. You know what I mean? How can they put themselves in that situation? They're not doing this right. They literally will gossip about other people and be destructive with their words all day. But then you have those who remain silent, who see the same thing that the other person sees, but they don't speak about it because they know I have to guard my tongue, because me speaking destruction upon somebody else will only lead to my own destruction, because that's the way the law works. You're not doing any justice by exposing the next man, because you only expose yourself. Next verse. The soul of a lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich. The soul of a lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich. So we have people out here who constantly desire more money, more women, more men, more this, more that, more clothes, more food. It's like, they're constantly in a state of desire, constantly trying to feed something that will never be tamed. That's why they truly have nothing. Because if you truly had something, you would have no desire. But there are those who have desires that can never be fulfilled because they're unfaithful and they feed on violence. So this creates a constant feeding or need to feed. But the soul of the diligent should be made rich. The soul, it didn't say the material aspect, even though it speaks about this a little bit further, but we ain't get there yet. It says the soul of the diligent should be made rich. Not the body, the soul. A lot of people don't even know what the soul is. They think the soul and the spirit is the same thing. It's not. The soul of the diligent should be made rich. When you enrich your soul with wisdom, because you can take wisdom anywhere on this planet and it will stand up against any truth. In other words, a wise man can travel this earth without problems because their soul is enriched by wisdom. Wisdom can take you all over this planet stress-free. You have no problems, you have no worries. That's what wisdom can do. But other people, they can't go anywhere. Why? Because Anywhere they go, they're trying to get into any type of drama. They're trying to see what's going on. They're trying to, you know what I mean? We know who these people are. We see them every day. This is majority of the planet, right? They can't go anywhere without either getting into something, starting something, or want to know what's going on because they're not satisfied with themselves. They need to be fed anger and destruction and chaos. Moving right along. A righteous man hates lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and comes to shame. A righteous man hates lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and comes to shame. This is why I say, if you're wise, you don't have to tell lies because you can stand on the truth. A wise man does not have to lie, or a wise man, a wise woman. You know, I don't want to exclude the women, but when I say man, I'm talking about mankind. You know, just the whole human society. So I'm not excluding women, but I'm just reading what's written. So when you're righteous, you don't have to tell lies because you are comfortable standing on the truth because the truth is rooted in wisdom, right? What is a soul? Your soul is the pure aspect of yourself. In other words, the soul is a part of you that's pure. No matter what you do as a human, no matter what you do as a human, your soul will remain pure. So even if you shot somebody, even if you killed somebody, even if you did anything unrighteous in this human vessel, your soul remains pure. Right? A wicked man thrives off of lies and deception, cheating, stealing, raping, so on and so forth, right? So when you are wise, you don't have to tell lies. And when you don't tell lies, you don't create drama for yourself. Most of the time, drama and destruction is created because somebody is telling lies. Lies cause people to beef and fight, but that's what people do. See, for example, I see it happening nowadays where you have the media that tries to get people to beef. The media asks somebody else certain questions about another man. They ask a man about another man. And when that man gives his opinion, they misconstrue his words and make it seem like he said something he didn't, which causes beef and strife between those two people. Then the media just sit back with their popcorn and watch them destroy each other. We see this every day in hip hop. Most beefs are started from somebody telling a lie and something being taken out of context. I just answered what the soul is. I just answered, but I'll answer again. The soul is the aspect of yourself that remains pure. So it don't matter what you do in this physical world, your soul remains pure. So the purest aspects of yourself is the soul. The soul remains pure. The soul is never damaged. The soul is the aspect of you that reminds you of who you are. The voice of wisdom. The voice of wisdom is your soul. The spirit is just what animates your body. You know, when you die, your spirit goes into the ethers. Your soul is infinite. The soul is what outlives your body and what outlives the spirit. So your soul, you go into your soul when you drop the body. Your soul is infinite. Your soul is what makes you a divine being. That's why you have people on the earth without souls. That's why they're weak and wicked. But that's a whole nother video. So, what verse am I on? Now we're on the 7th verse. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 7. All right? Let us continue. Righteousness guards him whose way is blameless. Righteousness guards him whose way is blameless, but wickedness overthrows the sinner. Basically, a sinner or somebody who's ignorant of who and what they are will always be overthrown by wickedness, meaning they're going to always be led astray. due to all this drama out here. It's like they thrive off of drama and they don't even know it. See, they don't know what they're doing. See, it's not even necessarily that they are doing these things on purpose. It's just that this is their culture. This is their way of life. This is what they're used to. This is what they saw coming up as a child. They don't know nothing else but madness and destruction. So therefore, they will always be led astray because they don't know who they are, and they will not allow themselves to be corrected by wisdom. You know, moving right along. There is one who makes himself rich, yet has nothing. And there is one who makes himself poor, yet has great riches. There is one who makes himself rich, yet has nothing. And there is one who makes himself poor, yet has great riches. Hmm. So that explains what we see out in the world, right? We got a lot of people who's rich, but truly have nothing. They have money to spend. They can do whatever they want on this material plane, but they truly have nothing because they are not connected with their soul. They will not allow themselves to hear the voice of wisdom. So what do you truly have? Right? Then it says there are those who makes himself poor. Not somebody who got messed up and got into a poor situation. There's one who makes themselves poor purposely, yet has great riches. Right? Yeah, like there's various translations. I believe this version, I don't even know what version of the Bible this is. But you got various versions that say things differently. So what this is saying, you have those who are rich, but because they are not connected to their souls, they have nothing. Because none of those riches will outlive them. Yet you are those who walk around poor, but has great riches because they have filled their souls with wisdom and they allow their souls to speak and guide them. So they truly can do whatever they want to. They can travel this world invisible. See, celebrities like to be seen. Those who are wise like to travel unseen. Because they don't, you know what I mean? They don't need to inflate their ego. They don't need people to see them. They don't need people to take pictures of them. They don't need people to view them as deities. Right? They can be somebody who's poor. But soul is big. It can't even be measured because it's filled with wisdom. So they don't need the limelight. They can just do as they please whenever they want. They are truly free people. Let us continue. The ransom of a man's life is his riches, but the poor does not hear rebuke. The ransom of a man's life is his riches, but the poor does not hear rebuke. What this is saying is, you have people, once again, who base their whole reality on their riches. That's their ransom, meaning if you take the riches away, they become irrelevant because they truly have nothing. Because if you truly have something, you can take a man's wealth away from him and he'll get it right back if he is wise. Because he is rooted in truth and he's rooted in wisdom. You can take all of his wealth and he'll get it right back. You take the wealth from these people nowadays, they won't be able to get it back because they never had nothing to begin with. Right? Let's continue. The light of the righteous rejoice, but the lamp of the wicked will be put out. The light of the righteous rejoice, but the lamp of the wicked will be put out. So the wicked have a time limit. That's what most people don't realize. The time is ticking for those who are unrighteous. They have a limited time. But those who are righteous remain wise infinitely because they are connected to their souls, meaning they never die. When you're connected to your soul and your soul is thriving, you never die. But those who are unrighteous, they may have wealth now, but their time is running out because they are not infinite beings. This is what I'm saying, right? Let us continue. By pride comes nothing but strife, but with the well advised is wisdom. By pride comes nothing but strife, but with the well advised is wisdom. So those who are prideful, those who feel like can't nobody tell them nothing, bring strife upon themselves because they are not open to the voice of wisdom once again. So this whole chapter is talking about this is how the unwise act and this is how the wise act. It's showing you the difference between the righteous and the unrighteous and how they behave. It's going into vast detail, right? So those who are prideful and nobody can tell them nothing, they bring strife upon themselves. And you can see it every day. Every day, it's some type of beef, some type of drama. Somebody's trying to expose them. You know, they have to deal with all this unnecessary drama because they are prideful. Yet, the well-advised is wisdom. Those who walk in wisdom don't have to deal with any of that. So even if they're going through a hard situation, their soul is unmoved. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Even if they may appear to be going through a lot, but, you know what I mean, it doesn't affect them the way that it would affect somebody who's prideful. Because, you know what I mean, they understand the pendulum of time. They understand the principle of rhythm. They know how to get on top of the principle of rhythm. So when things are not going so well, they know how to get on top of it, right? They understand universal law. So they know, all right, I'm not going to be on top of the world every single day. So when the time comes for the pendulum to swing the other way, I'm already prepared and I'm already adjusted and I'll deal with it accordingly. So they don't have no problem doing that. But the prideful, when that pendulum swing, now they have to create controversy. When their buzz isn't there anymore, when their buzz isn't as big as it used to be, now they got to create controversy. Now they got to diss somebody. Now they got to talk reckless to try to get their buzz back up. You know? Again, you can see this. You can see this all over the place, right? Let us continue. Wealth gained by dishonesty will be diminished, but he who gathers by labor will increase. Wealth gained by dishonesty will be diminished, but he who gathers by labor will increase. So those of us who labor for this wisdom, because you have to labor for wisdom. Wisdom isn't really just given to you. You gotta find it in these books. You gotta go out and live life to become wise. You know what I mean? You gotta go out and go through some stuff before you become wise. Again, you gotta read book after book after book after book after book. Go through all these hardships before you become wise. Then there are those who are dishonest. But again, as I said, they are limited. The time is ticking. So they may have wealth today, but it'll be gone tomorrow, right? And we see it happening. You know, with all this stuff that's happening in Hollywood and all these people are being exposed, you know, for mistreating all these women. All these people are very wealthy people, but it's all being taken away from them, right? Because their time is ticking. You got people who was rich, super wealthy, and it all got taken away. Their whole empire got destroyed because they didn't earn those riches in an honest manner. So the time was ticking. So they chose to live a life, maybe 5, 10, 15, even 20 years of being wealthy. But after that, It'll all be taken away, and it's as if so. It's not only did they lose their wealth, but their whole history is diminished. Their whole family bloodline is diminished. Their whole name, their whole legacy has been tarnished. You won't even be proud to say like, "Yo, that's my father, that's my mother." It's like your whole legacy has been diminished because you was operating in dishonesty. Let us continue. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when desire comes, it is a tree of life. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when the desire comes, it is a tree of life. So, what this is saying is, when you defer your hope, when you're like, ah, man, when you're not, when you feel hopeless, basically, when you feel hopeless, it makes the heart sick, and a sick heart cannot thrive. So whenever you got a lot of people walking around here hopeless, that leads to a diseased heart, and a diseased heart leads to, as we see here, it leads to sickness, physical sickness, mental sickness, and spiritual sickness, because you're not connected to the voice of wisdom. Because you're walking around hopeless, like there's nothing that can be done. Again, it's a lot of people that look at the world. They look at things like world hunger. They look at things like violence. They look at all the wrongs of the world, all the bad stuff that's going on in the world, and it makes them hopeless. Like, man, we in a place that would never be right. But that's not the case. It's just that you don't evolve yourself in wickedness. You're just dealing with people that engage in wickedness. There will be no such thing as world hunger if you didn't have wicked people who's taken away the resources of the planet, leaving other people broke and despaired. That's a result of people. The earth provides enough food to feed everybody here. And the only reason people don't have resources is because another human being came and made them poor. The planet don't make anybody poor. Everybody can have a garden and plant their own food, have their own home, have their own business, take care of their family. But the only reason why it's hard for a lot of people is because you have other human beings who are wicked and who's taken away the resources for themselves and leaving everybody else to fiend for themselves. It's nothing to do with the planet is this, the planet is that. No, these are human beings controlling resources who are operating in wickedness. But again, they're on a time limit. Let us continue. He who despises the word will be destroyed, but he who fears the commandment will be rewarded. He who despises the word will be destroyed, but he who fears the commandment will be rewarded. So if you despise the word, which is wisdom, when you choose to be unrighteous, like I said, your time is ticking. You will be destroyed. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. Again, you may be wealthy today, but it'll all be taken away from you in due time. However, those who fear the commandment, and in this sense, it does mean those who understand that in order for you to be in order for you to be wise, you have to live accordingly to the universal laws. So meaning if you try to live outside of the universal laws, then you will be dealt with accordingly. Or the commandments in this case. If you try to live outside of the commandments or the words of God, you will be dealt with just like everybody else will be dealt with. So those who fear the commandments just pretty much remind themselves like, yo, this is what's keeping me protected. This is what's keeping me safe. It's wisdom. Wisdom keeps me safe. Wisdom keeps me out of drama. Wisdom keeps me from having to do things that are unrighteous. Wisdom helps you to navigate through this life without feeling hopeless and navigate through this life without feeling like you need to do things other than yourself. Wisdom does these things. That's why you have to walk in faith. In all things that you do, you have to walk in faith. You have to be wise because you have to seek out the wisdom. Wisdom has to be found. You have to go out and live your life being wise. And it will not mislead you because again, wisdom is timeless. Let us continue. Got a couple more verses. Okay. So you said your ears started ringing. Again, when you hear wisdom, when you hear wisdom. Now let me finish these verses. I got about 10 more lines. So if y'all want to ask any questions, let's get through these lines. Before we start getting off topic. And before we move on to the next thing, so let me finish these 10 lines before we start getting off track. Let us continue. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to turn one away from the snares of death. One more time. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to turn one away from the snares of death. So once again, we see that the law of the wise is the fountain of life. Wisdom gives you life, and it turns you away from the snare of death. This is what it means to cheat death. See, you can die before your appointed time, being unwise. See, people say like everybody has an appointed time to die. That is correct. But you can die before that appointed time, not being wise. Like you can go out here and get killed today if you wanted to, even if you were supposed to die at the age of 90. You go out here and start doing some wickedness, your life will be ended before the appointed time because you was operating in wickedness. Wisdom is a fountain of life that snares you away, or that turns you away from the snare of death. So long life is due to wisdom. Let us continue. Good understanding gains favor, but the way of the unfaithful is hard. Right? Good understanding gains favor, but the way of the unfaithful is hard. So to have good understanding gains favor. Now you gain favor amongst the wise, those who are righteous. You can be brought into the fold of those who are righteous. However, when you're unfaithful, then, your life will always be hard. You will always be going through strife. You will always have problems that you feel like you can't solve when you're unfaithful to the word, right? Which is wisdom, which comes from the soul, right? Let us continue. Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but a fool lays open his folly, right? Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but a fool lays open his folly. So this in a fool would just spew anything out their mouth. But a man of knowledge, a man who is wise, is they don't even speak without thinking. They always think before they speak. A fool does not think before they speak. They just spew, right? Their words become destructive because they don't think, and it's not rooted in wisdom because they have no knowledge. You can't be rooted in wisdom without having any knowledge, and the prudent man is rooted in knowledge, which allows him to hear the voice of wisdom. But a fool would constantly spew ignorance, no matter what, because they have no knowledge, because they don't want knowledge, because they're ego inflated, and they already feel like they know everything, right? Let us continue. A wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a faithful ambassador brings health. A wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a faithful ambassador brings health. So a faithful ambassador heals. A wicked man is always in trouble. A wicked man is always finding themselves in some type of drama. A wise ambassador or a faithful ambassador can heal those amongst him. Right? So if you're not healing those amongst you, instead you're getting people into trouble, they can't even be with you. Because like, man, every time I'm with this dude, who knows what happened? You know what I mean? I end up getting into situations that it's hard to get out of. Or this girl. You know what I mean? We know people like this. They're all over the planet. So one more time, a wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a faithful ambassador brings health. So when you're able to bring health to those amongst you, that comes from faith and that comes from being wise. But if that's not the case, you're going to always lead people to trouble, So let us continue. We've got a couple more lines. Poverty and shame will come to him who disdains correction, but he who regards a rebuke will be honored. Poverty and shame will come to him who disdains correction, but he who regards a rebuke will be honored. In other words, those who get spanked because they did something wrong and correct themselves will be honored because they corrected themselves. See, if you get corrected by an elder, some people can't be corrected. Some people can't sit and be grilled by an elder. Like, yo, that was wrong, right? You know what I mean? They may give you 30 minutes of just smashing you down. Like, yo, you can't be doing that. But somebody who's wicked, somebody who's unwise, that can't sit there and take that. They're going to start spewing out their mouth because they're undisciplined. They can't sit there and be corrected by somebody who's wiser than them because they don't allow themselves to listen to the voice of wisdom. If you're not listening to the voice of wisdom within your own heart, then you're not going to be able to listen to the voice of wisdom within somebody else's words. Right? So poverty and shame will come to him who disdains correction, but he who regards a rebuke will be honored. You will be honored because it builds you up when you allow yourself to be corrected by those who are more wise than you. That allows you to become more wise. And that allows you to be amongst the wise. Because when they see that you have enough discipline to stand there and be corrected and make the proper adjustments, then they look at you with respect. But somebody who can't tame their mouth, they always have something else to say. It's like, all right, get this person out of my face. All right, let us continue. Soul, but it is an abomination to fools who depart from evil. Let me read that one more time. A desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is an abomination to fools to depart from evil. There we go, because I didn't say it right the first time. So let me say it again. A desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is an abomination to fools to depart from evil. So to fools, it's an abomination to stop doing wickedness. So you can say to somebody, maybe you should stop doing that. They look at you crazy, like, you crazy. So a fool looks at you like you crazy if you suggest, like, yo, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. They're like, yo, for me to stop doing what I do is an abomination. So they look at, to stop doing wickedness is an abomination. Right? So, let us continue. We almost got 5 more verses. Then we can move on. He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. Right? He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. As again, when you engage in foolishness, your time is ticking. But when you allow yourself to be disciplined, you can be amongst those who are wise, so they can depart their wisdom to you. No elder will give you any real wisdom if they see you're not right in your heart, because a wise man can see through the windows of the soul and tell who's who, and knows, okay, I'm not telling that person anything. Okay, that person deserves the wisdom that I'm going to impart to them, because you see that they are making the necessary corrections so they can hear the voice of wisdom. So you can be amongst wise people when you are wise and you accept correction. But those who go outside of that, like, no, we're going to do our own thing. Y'all don't know what y'all are talking about. Yeah, whatever. The time is ticking. All right? Let us continue. Evil pursues sinners, but to the righteous, good should be repaid. Evil pursues sinners, but to the righteous, good shall be repaid. So what is this saying? Evil follows those who engage in wickedness. So it's literally they're being followed, you can say, by so-called evil spirits, just for a lack of a better term, right? So those who engage in wickedness will be followed by wickedness. That's why they always end up in trouble, because they literally have spirits following them, tempting them to engage in wickedness. And the only way to protect you against that is to be wise and to clean yourself up and to follow the commandments or the wise words that the ancestors have already laid down for us. The path has already been laid down. It's only when you stray from the path that you end up messed up. All right? Let us continue. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of a sinner is stored up for the righteous. One more time. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of a sinner is stored up for the righteous. So, when we talk about an inheritance, we're not necessarily just talking about money. An inheritance can be a book of wisdom. So you can leave a book of wisdom to your grandchildren. Like, yo, this is a book of wisdom that I have collected through my entire life, and I impart this to you. Follow these words, and you will be successful just as I was. That's a true inheritance where you can pass wisdom. Because if you just give somebody a bunch of money and they don't know what to do with it, they'll lose it. But if you give somebody wisdom, not only can they gain their own wealth, but they can take the wealth that's also given to them and multiply it. That's true wisdom. True wisdom will multiply your wealth. And even if you have nothing to give materially, you have this book of wisdom that can be passed on to your grandparents, your grandchildren. So just think, your grandparents, how much wisdom that your grandparents has accumulated in their lifetime. They may not leave you anything, but listen to the words of the wise, because you can take that with you for the rest of your life. You can get money and spend money, but wisdom will never depart those who are wise. The wisdom is timeless, and the wisdom is infinite. Wisdom always travels from generation to generation to generation, and it remains the same. So almost done here. Much food is in the fallow ground of the people, and for the lack of justice there is waste. Much food is in the fallow ground of the poor, and for the lack of justice there is waste. So in other words, you can say, if anything, people have food to eat, right? If anything, people have food to eat. But when it comes to justice, there's a waste. So for example, the government will give you food stamps. The government won't let you starve. But when it comes to justice, they're nowhere to be found, right? True justice, you don't even see that. We don't see true justice. But they'll keep food in your mouth, though. They'll keep feeding you the wrong foods to keep you ignorant. Because when you eat the wrong foods, it calcifies the third eye. It calcifies the crown chakra, so on and so forth. When you can't hear the voice of wisdom, you can't even operate on a higher chakra level by eating the wrong foods. So true justice is invisible to you. But the wise know it's not for me to depend on the justice of this world, because this world is ruled by wickedness. But I have faith to be wise, because I know, this world is not the end all be all. I'm going to be here 100 years. Then I'm going to the next level. But people who think that all they have is 100 years, so they can do whatever they want, like, oh, I got 100 years and that's going to be it for me. So that's how they live their life. Right? Like you only live once. You only got one life. You better do as much as you can. You better get as much money as you can. You better have as much sex as you can. You better do as much as you can. You see, that's the mentality that people have. So wisdom means nothing to them because they're too busy trying to fulfill their desires. Or I only gotta, I'm only gonna be young, for a certain amount of time, so I might as well get all this stuff out of my system, etc., 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 etc. Let us continue. He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him properly. He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him properly. Meaning, those who hate their children allow their children to do whatever they want. But those who truly love their children, you're not letting them get away with nothing, because you know how hard this world is. Like, they can't take that behavior out into the world and expect to survive. So people who love their children is always on them, constantly, because they know the type of world that they're going out to, and the only way for you to survive here without losing your soul is to be wise. So they're going to always be imparting that wisdom to their child. But a person who just like, let the child, leave the kids alone. The kids, let's let them do what they want. Let them do what they want. They just kids. Oh, it's all innocent. Who's making no correction? Who just let them do whatever they want? That's not love. That's truly hate. And you see this everywhere. You see people who are like that with their kids, right? And you see people who are super strict with their kids. So we see the difference between love and hate. And the last verse. The righteous eat hold on. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. The righteous eats to the satisfying of his soul, but the stomach of the wicked shall be in want. The righteous eats to the satisfying of his soul, but the stomach of the wicked shall be in want. As we said earlier, the wicked will never be fulfilled. The wicked doesn't know how it means to be full, because they're always in desire. But the righteous eat not to satisfy their belly, but to satisfy the soul. That's your food for the soul. Not food for the stomach, food for the soul. And that's what satisfies you. when you feed your soul. But the wicked, again, you're going to get hungry every day, right? That's never going to stop. But when you satisfy the soul, you will truly becoming full with wisdom. Right? So there we go. So we just read Proverbs, the 13th chapter. Okay, so we can close this up. So before we move on, y'all let me know if y'all have any questions about that. Let me see. Because what we're going to, from here, I'm going to open up the Supreme Wisdom by Elijah Muhammad to further clarify what's being said. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me open this up and we can get straight to it. But I think somebody asked me, am I still fasting? I ate yesterday, but I only ate 1 meal. See, now my diet is just eating once a day. I only eat once a day. Nothing in between. So I eat around maybe 4 p.m. between 4 and 6 p.m. That's when I eat, but I only eat 1 time a day. Only 1 meal, 1 time a day. So not snacking on stuff constantly all throughout the day. None of that. So 1 meal a day. You know what I mean? And I'm good with that. I'm good. You know, because again, when you're constantly feeding your soul, then you're good. I've yet to have hunger pains this whole time. No hunger pains. You know. So it ain't even like this ain't even something that I'm doing for the next month. I plan to implement this as a habit. Eat once a day, not just for the next 30 days, not just for Ramadan, like just for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Just once a day. Because I see what it does, you know, because when you're not constantly just intaking food and you allow your body to rest, you become more receptive to wisdom. You know what I mean? That's just what happens. But if you're constantly clogging up your meridians with all this food and never allow your body to rest, well, your body is always working even when you sleep, then, you know, it's a whole different situation. Again, a lot of people was like, keep saying, like, they can't dream, they can't remember their dreams, they can't do this, they can't do that. I was having so many dreams last night, I couldn't keep up with them. I couldn't keep up with my dreams. I'm having dreams back to back to back to back to back to back to back. I'm like, man, maybe I should start writing this down. Like, I can't even keep up with this. All type of stuff. And like, I'm actually, I can feel more in my dreams. Like, I'm actually, you know what I mean? I'm more there. The dreams are more vivid. You know what I mean? It's a lot more going on. It's like a fully animated movie. It ain't just something I'm in and I'm out, I'm in and I'm out. But I ate at like 4 p.m. And I guess I laid down maybe around 9 or 10. So, you know, it was about 5 hours before, 5 hours had passed before I laid down. So I had no food in my system by the time I actually went to bed. That's the difference. Again, you got a lot of people who snacking all throughout the day. And even before they go to sleep, they got to get a snack before they lay down. And again, you know, because, again, everybody think because they're eating healthy that they can get away with that. When that's just not the case. I don't care how healthy. I don't care if you ate a whole ball of lettuce before you went to sleep. You know, you still ate some so that your body's going to be working while you sleep. So what happens is, for those who don't understand that, your body, the energy that it takes to digest food, all that energy, all your chi, all your prana goes to your stomach, right? All your prana goes to your stomach. So when you are trying to do any spiritual work, it's hard to do it. Because when you're trying to do spiritual work, you need the energy to go up the chakras and not down the chakras. You need the energy to go up. But the energy can't go up because it's being held down because you need to digest food. So if you're sleeping and digesting food, you know, it's just not going to happen. You ate a ton of McDonald's right before bed last night and you still had a bunch of dreams. Well, now I guarantee The dreams that you were having, were you in control? Did they make sense? What wisdom were you able to extract? So you can dream, but what are the quality of the dreams? That's what I'm talking about. Because yes, like I've ate right before bed too and had dreams. But was I able to extract wisdom from it? I wouldn't say that. It's like you just dreaming, but you don't, you're just like a random dream. You dreamed and you wake up. You know what I mean? Like it was really the quality of the dream just wasn't there. Yeah, you're dreaming, but what about the quality? You know? So y'all already know. So let's get to the supreme wisdom. We already an hour in. All right. So give me 1 second. So I just want to read y'all a couple things. So again, for those who don't know what this is, the supreme wisdom by Elijah Muhammad. This is written back in 1934, right? The 1930s. So this is like, what, 70, 80 years old now. So give me 1 second. Let me stroll to where I want to read. Okay, so what I want to read is this. So this is basically questions and answers. So the supreme wisdom is basically questions and answers. So one of the questions is, why did we take Jerusalem from the devil? How long ago? And I'm not going to read the whole answer, because I just want to focus on a specific thing. The answer is, because one of our righteous brothers, who was a prophet by the name of Jesus, was buried there. They used his name to shield their dirty religion, which is called Christianity. Also to deceive the people so that they will believe in him. Jesus' teachings was not Christianity. It was freedom, justice, and equality. And that's all I want to read. So I'll read that one more time. Why did we take Jerusalem from the devil? How long ago? Because one of our righteous brothers, who was a prophet by the name of Jesus, was buried there. They used his name to shield their dirty religion, which is called Christianity, also to deceive the people so that they will believe in him. But Jesus' teachings was not Christianity. They were freedom, justice, and equality. So, for example, the reason I wanted to read that, and I'm going to read a couple more questions as well, but I want to start there because we see this is what's going on. People use the imagery of Jesus, who was a person of high spirituality. They use his image to promote their wickedness. So they put his face and his image out in the forefront, which is a righteous image. So this is what I mean by they use truth as a shield, and behind that truth is complete wickedness, as we see in the world, right? You got so many so-called Christians who engage in nothing but wickedness and still take themselves to church every Sunday. But all through the week, they engage in madness, right? Because they feel like, they will be forgiven, like Jesus died for our sins and all that. They're using his name, they're using his image, and they're using his legacy as a shield to attract the people. Because again, that is a righteous energy. Because again, you read the words of Jesus, and they are righteous words. He ain't telling you nothing wrong. But they use the image to shield what's really going on, as we truly see what's really going on, whether it's in the church, whether it's in the world, whether it's in politics, economics, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like, all the people doing wrong in this world are religious. Let's just be real. It's not the people who are unreligious, right? Everybody who is engaged in wickedness will consider themselves Christian. Not everybody. Those who are within that set of religion. But they will consider themselves Christian, even though they engage in wickedness, and we can clearly see it. So they use his image as a shield to cover up what's really going on, which is their real religion, right? But Jesus had no idea what a Christian was, because Jesus himself was not Christian, and his teachings were not Christianity. It was simply freedom, justice, and equality. Simple as that. We don't need to make that any more complicated. That's just simply what it was. Let us go to the next question. The next question says, why does the devil call our people Africans? Answer, to make our people in North America believe that the people on that continent are the only people that they have and that they all are savage. I'll stop it there. One more time. Why does the devil call our people Africans? To make our people in North America believe that the only people, I'm going too fast. To make our people of North America believe that the people on that continent are the only people that they have and that they are all savage. So this is why this whole African American thing and we come out of Africa. That's that manipulation. That's why we are being manipulated with that falsehood. Because when you call yourself African, right? Whenever you think about Africa, whenever you look at Africa, whenever we are showing imagery of Africa, all you see is savages. Right? You see these commercials with babies starving and flies all over their face and all that. You know what I mean? Most people, when they think about Africa, they think about poverty. You know what I mean? When most people think about Africa, they think about poverty. Let's just be real. So when they say you're African, you're African American, you're from Africa, you were brought over here on slave ships. That means they don't want you to associate yourself with all of your other families on the planet. Or you have nothing to do with, hold on, you got all this background stuff. They want you to believe that you don't have no connection to Asia, that you have no connection to Europe, that you have no connection to South America, so on and so forth. They want to put everything to Africa, and they want to control the imagery that comes out of Africa. So this is all manipulation to keep you down here and not look at all human families on the planet. We are all connected. There is no, okay, you're from here, you're from there, we are all connected. But if they want to make your mind small, they only want to connect you with one continent and one people. And the only people they connect you with is savages or so-called savages. That's why they do that. Moving right along. Next question. Why does the devil keep our people illiterate? So that he can use them as a tool and also as a slave. He keeps them blind to themselves so that he can master them. Illiterate means to be ignorant. One more time. Why does the devil keep our people illiterate? So that he can use them as a tool and also as a slave. He keeps them blind to themselves so that he can master them. Illiterate means to be ignorant. So, they keep you ignorant so that they can master you. I talked about this a couple videos ago. As long as you are ignorant to who and what you are, you will be used as a tool and a slave. You cannot be used as a tool and a slave if you have knowledge of yourself. Without knowledge of yourself, you will remain illiterate or ignorant. And when you are illiterate and ignorant, you can be used as a slave because you don't know who you are. Or you think that where you are from, you come from a bunch of savages. Or The only worth you have is being locked up in chains, and doing hard labor. That's all mental programming. Let me read this last part. This last part is, why does the devil keep our people apart from his social equality? Because he does not want us to know how filthy he is in all of his affairs. He is afraid that if we learn about him, we will run him from amongst us. One more time. Why does the devil keep our people apart from his social equality? Basically, his culture, his way of life. Why? They don't want us around them. See, we thinking like, oh, they don't want us around them because they hate us. It's not the case. That's not true. The truth is, because he does not want us to know how filthy he is in all of his affairs. He is afraid that if we learn about him, we will run him from amongst us. Meaning, if we truly know how wicked these MFers are, you wouldn't want to be around them. But they got you thinking that, no, we don't like you. Stay out of our neighborhood. Stay out of our culture. They got you thinking there's something wrong with you. But like, yo, if you really knew what they was really doing, like, you wouldn't even want to be amongst them. Like, yo, I don't even want to be around here. Look at what y'all doing. I don't want anything to do with you. As opposed to got you thinking that there's something wrong with you. You know. So I'm just reading some verses from the Supreme Wisdom from Elijah Muhammad. You know, just to make the necessary corrections to get people on point. So before we get out of here, I'll read a couple verses from the Quran since y'all requested, so I can bring this up right now. So give me 1 second, I'll bring up the Quran. And just pick some random verses, see what we get from it. But in the meantime, if y'all got any questions, let me know. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Let's see, because it's like 116 chapters in the Quran, so I just pick a random verse. What's up? Is he saying white devil? Yeah, he's saying white devil. Yeah. Yep. Because that's what they show and prove. You know what I mean? It's not name bashing. That's just their culture. Ever since they've been on the planet, that's just what they've shown. They've shown who and what they are, and they continue to do it to this day, right? So there's no lies being told there. That's just what they do, and they continue to do it to this day. Can't nobody refute that. That's their culture. That's their way of life. It is what it is. How long have I been on this journey? My whole life. You know what I mean? My whole life. I mean, this ain't nothing new. Asha, if you die a wicked person, do you suffer some type of punishment? I mean, you're going to suffer way before you die. First and foremost, if you wicked. If you wicked, you're going to suffer way before you die. So you're going to suffer while in life. As well as when you die, it's like, again, we don't got to get into that part because, again, you can ask, well, you haven't died. Like, how do you know what happens after death? So I don't even want to get into that. So we can just focus on when we are alive. So if you wicked, you're gonna suffer in this life even before you die. But of course, after you depart, your vibration is going to be so low because you don't know who you are that you're going to have to reincarnate. You're going to reincarnate right back to this prison planet and have to do it all over again because you didn't build up your soul because you were too busy engaging in wickedness. If you're not satisfying the soul, then you're going to be too busy engaging in wickedness and you're going to suffer because of it. Magic in the workplace. Like, what do you mean by magic in the workplace? I'm gonna go to the 89th chapter. That's just that number just popped in my head. So let's just go to the 89th chapter. See what we got. Okay, we're gonna read from the Quran. I thought there was no such thing as good and bad. See, this is what I'm. So this is. Let me explain that. Okay, great question. What it is. What this is talking about is, yes, energy is neutral. That is correct. You are absolutely right. However, that does not give you an excuse to be wicked. See, this is what I mean. You have people who take this information as an excuse to be wicked and to engage in wickedness because they were already wicked in their heart. Don't let that be you. So, yes, there is no good or evil, but that's not an excuse to engage in wickedness. And the only reason you will want to even engage in wickedness if you are wicked in your heart. So even if there's no good and bad, is that an excuse to be bad? Is that an excuse? To go around punching on babies? To go around robbing elders? Is that an excuse? Oh, it's no good or bad, so I'm just gonna do what I want. That type of mentality just, that doesn't help anybody or anything. So don't use that as an excuse to go out there and engaging in craziness. Because it's not gonna benefit you. Okay, no problem. Don't trip about it. But what if it's your mission or what you came here for? We all came here to know who we are. We all came here for knowledge of self, to know who we are. We didn't come here to, engage in wickedness. Because if you know who you are, you wouldn't be doing that. Let's just be real. Let's just be real. If you know who you are, you won't even be thinking about doing wickedness. You wouldn't be thinking about getting over on people. You wouldn't be thinking about robbing people. You wouldn't be thinking about lying to people. Those type of thoughts just don't even come through your head because you're like, that doesn't do nothing for me. To see somebody else harmed, to see somebody else hurt, to get over on somebody. That don't do anything for you. That doesn't benefit anybody or anything, you know? So that's what I mean. So yes, there is no good and evil, but if you know who you are, why would you engage in something that harms another person? Why would you bring tears to another person? Why would you take something from somebody that's not yours when you could just build up your own? Build your own empire and get your own and have your own. You wouldn't be trying to take nothing from nobody else. This is what I mean. Like, you don't have a reason to engage in that type of behavior if you know who you are, because now you know how to get your own. Get your own wife. You don't gotta sleep with nobody else's wife. Get your own wife. You don't gotta take nobody else's money. Get your own money. Get your own, house. Get your own pet, whatever. Get your own supplies. You ain't gotta take nothing from nobody else, because that's what they do. You know what I mean? What about the concept of polarity? If you were a perfect being before coming to the earth, you could have came down here to explore the other side of the spectrum. But polarity does exist. That's why we see wickedness. So yes, polarity does exist. But the polarity is there for you to know, I don't think I want to do that. That's the whole point. And no, to explore the other side is righteousness. None of us came here when we were pushed out of the womb. We didn't know who he was, or if we knew who he was, we forgot who he was. So you came into this world ignorant. We all came into this world ignorant. So as we go through life, we gain wisdom. That's the whole point, right? Excuse me. Excuse me. We all came into this world ignorant. So when we go through life, we gain wisdom. So that is the polarity, because you didn't come into this world with wisdom. So that is the polarity. Unless you can show me a baby that's doing things that adults do, then I beg to differ. But until then, you know what I mean? Like, we came into the world ignorant. So we have the polarity as being wise. No, it's all good, It's good questions. Because again, it's a lot of confusion. It's a lot of confusion. But let me read a couple of verses from the Quran, chapter 87. Let's see what the Quran has to say. Verse 1. Let me see. Let me actually stroll in. What about those that come into this world with memory? That doesn't make you non-ignorant. No child comes into this world wise. They may have memory, but what are they gonna do with it? With that little baby body? What is your little baby body gonna do? Except cry. You can't do nothing just yet. You have to grow up and gain wisdom so that you can do something with it. So we're not talking about memory. We all come into this world ignorant. You may have memory, but you can't do nothing with it. So you have to come into this world and you slowly but surely gain wisdom. And if you didn't get it from your parents, then you give it to yourself. You become wise for your own sake, even if you didn't get it at home. So that you can be wise and do righteous things. Because again, there's no need to cause harm or hurt to nobody else. If you're righteous, for what? What is that doing for you or anybody else? Just because you see other people doing it and you see other people succeeding, or in other words, just because you see the devil doing it, I thought she was God. That's the whole point, right? So what does the Quran say? The Quran says, verse 1, chapter 87. Let me stroll in a little closer. Has there reached you the report of the overwhelming? Some faces that day will be humbled, working hard and exhausted. They will enter to burn in an intensely hot fire. They will be given drink from boiling springs. For them, there will be no food except from a poisonous, thorny plant, which neither nourishes nor avails against hunger. Other faces that day will show pleasure. With their effort, they are satisfied. In an elevated garden, wherein they will hear no unsuitable speech. Within it is a flowing spring. Within it are crouches raised high and cups put in place. Like, this is worded real weird. Hold on. And cushions lined up and carpets spread around. Then they do not look at the camels. How are they created? And they look at the sky. How is it raised? And at the mountains, how are they erected? And at the earth, how is it spread out? So remind, O Muhammad, you are only a reminder. You are not over them a controller. However, he who turns away and disbelieves, then Allah will punish him with the greatest punishment. Indeed, to us is their return. Then indeed, upon us is their account. All right, there you go. So that was chapter 89 from the Quran. So basically what it's saying is, on that day, you can say like the day of judgment. Again, this is all speaking in parables. So it's on a literal sense. It's talking about on the day of judgment, you're going to have those who were unrighteous, who cannot quench their thirst or hunger. Because when they're thirsty, the only thing they had to drink is boiling water. When they're hungry, the only thing they had to eat is a thorny plant. It's like trying to eat the thorns of a rose. So they can never satisfy their thirst, and they can never satisfy their hunger. Then you have the others who was righteous, where now they're in an elevated garden. Now, you know what I mean, they're filled with complete pleasure. They won't hear anything that is unsatisfiable to the ear, or they won't hear anything that lowers their vibration. Everything will be in alignment with each other. So it's telling like, oh Muhammad, you are only a reminder. So it's saying the prophets are only a reminder of the greater creator, the supreme intelligence. So the prophets are only the messengers of the supreme creator, which is basically telling you like, yo, be righteous. Don't come into this world and just because you see wickedness, engaging in wickedness. You're gonna see it all over the place, but be wise and be humble. Because there are laws and rules and regulations that are set in place, aka the universal laws. There are rules and regulations set in place, and if they are not honored, then again you will be like a damned soul roaming the earth that can't satisfy their thirst or their hunger. So that's straight from the Quran. You said that polarity is there for you to know what wicked is, so you can say, I don't think I want to do that. But how would you know what that is if there wasn't someone that lives that out? That's exactly why there's wickedness in the world. That's why the devil exists. The devil exists to show you that that ain't what you're supposed to be doing, because it don't feel right in your soul. So you're gonna, again, how do you feel when you see babies being slapped up? That don't make you feel good. When you see elders being robbed, that don't make you feel good. That don't feel right to do in your heart. When you're robbing people and deceiving people and lying to people, that doesn't feel right in your heart. So even though you see it being done, but it don't feel right when you see it. It don't make you feel good. It doesn't bring you pleasure when you seeing people that are innocent being taken, things are being taken away from a child's innocence being taken away from them. That doesn't give you pleasure. That doesn't make you feel good, even though we see this happening every day. So yes, the devil exists, or the unrighteous exist to show you that, you know what, that ain't for me. Because that don't make me feel good. That don't make me feel right in my heart. So I'm not going to engage in those type of activities. Because it don't do nothing for me. In our soul, perhaps, but I feel like there are those who out there who enjoys things like that. Are they real? Yes, that's what we mean by the devil. So yes, the devil gets pleasure from engaging in those activities. But when you call yourself God, you don't. You don't. It don't bring you no pleasure. It may bring others, but it ain't about them. It's about you. Does it bring you pleasure? The answer is probably no. You don't get no pleasure from none of those things I just named. That doesn't do anything for you. Because because you have a soul. A devil doesn't have a soul. So to them, they don't feel what you feel because they don't have a soul. Because they don't have souls, then they can do whatever they want and they don't feel nothing. But because you have a soul, your soul is letting you know, like, yo, I'm not doing that. That don't feel right. Y'all don't get anything from it. Your soul is the measure of your righteousness. Your soul is letting you know, no, I'm not doing that. Because it don't do nothing for me. And I'm not going to feel right doing that. So when you are open to the voice of wisdom is telling you through your soul that, you see them going right, you need to go left. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Straight like that. So yes, there are people who get pleasure from it, but it ain't you. It's not those who have souls. Those who have souls don't get anything from it. So unless we have any questions, we can get up out of here. Unless y'all want me to do like another tarot reading or something, we can get it in. Y'all let me know. We can get up out of here. We can end this. We've been spitting this wisdom for almost 2 hours now. Y'all already know how we get down. So I gave y'all some Bible. I gave y'all some Quran. I gave y'all some supreme wisdom. I gave y'all some tarot. We going in. What do I think is the meaning of life? It's to seek wisdom. Because the meaning, but okay, I'll answer that in a different way. The meaning of life is to realize that you are the supreme being. That's what the soul is. Your soul is what's connected to the supreme intelligence, which makes you one and the same with the supreme intelligence. That's what the soul is. The soul is what makes you a divine being, because you have a soul. So the meaning of life is to cultivate your soul. Cultivation of the soul so that you can become wise. And when you become wise, you do righteousness. And when you do righteousness, you gain wealth. Physically, spiritually, and mentally. Let me see. Do a quick numerology reading in terms of what? What type of numerology? Like the numerology of the day? Because today is the 22nd, I believe. Yeah, today is the 22nd. So you're talking about the numerology for the day? Somebody asked for more tarot. So, okay, I'll do a quick reading. Yeah, we got about 15 minutes. No problem. Be on here about 15 more minutes. We'll get a reading in. No problem. Let's shuffle up. Let's see what we going. Let's see what we got. Birthday? What do you mean birthday? You want me to do a numerology reading for a random person's birthday? Let's do the read. Let's focus on the reading real fast. See what comes up. We'll pull 3 cards. Is breatharianism real? Yes. Yes, it is real. Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So let's pull these 3 cards. See what we got. Do I know how I can learn it? It's basically just, it's training your body to live strictly off of chi or prana. That's in the nutshell, without making it too complicated. It's just learning how to live strictly off of chi or prana or energy or real. There's many different ways to say it. But in order to do that, you have to be able to breathe properly. You have to focus on your breath. You have to, train yourself to breathe more deeply and to absorb more chi in your body when you breathe. Most people are not absorbing enough chi, or they're dissipating their chi from eating the wrong food, spiritually, mentally, and physically. So all these things deplete your chi. So it's keeping your chi at the highest level by putting in that work. So let's get to the reading. So let's see what we got. Does nature give more prana? Nature generates prana. Basically, prana is the force. With Star Wars, the movie Star Wars, when they refer to the force, that's prana. So watch the first Star Wars movie, number 1. Well, not the first one that came out, but the first episode. Watch Star Wars episode 1, where they speak about prana. They speak about prana every now and then. So you have to really, you got to watch it, you know, little by little. They speak about it. They give you little bits and pieces every now and then. So, you know, you got to do your research. But for those who want to watch the movie, watch the first episode of Star Wars. All right. So here's the first card. Actually, let's turn it over here. The first card is the King of Cups, which is, what does it say? Dedicated, adamant. Right? First card. So this is pretty much representing dedication. What's the second card? The High Priestess, Necromancer, Seer. Third card, the Ten of Wands, Misery, Torment. So, let's put all this together. So the King of Coins. So if y'all remember what I said earlier, the King is the fire. And since we're dealing with coins, we're dealing with the earth element. So the King is the fire of the earth element. Because, you know, you have the four elements. Of course, we have five, but we're just dealing with four for now. You have the four elements, and each of the four elements have sub-elements. So you have fire within the fire, you have water within fire, you have air within fire, and you have earth within fire, etc., 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 etc. So, the King of the Coins represents the fire of the earth. That's why he represents dedication, and he's adamant. You got to be dedicated to sit on the throne. So you see, you know, you see the I believe this is a tiger, cooling. Though he's sitting, chilling, you know, on this throne. But how did he get here? He got here through dedication. He got here through being dedicated to the fire of his spirit. What makes him such a divine being, or the principle associated with this animal, is this animal is dedicated. So you can say, even if he hasn't eaten for 3 days, his faith is unwavering. That's what it's talking about. So even if you don't have the resources that you need, your faith is unwavering no matter what. How do you build up that type of faith? We go to the second card, the High Priestess, give us insight into that. The Necromancer, the Seer. So this is now dealing with the subconscious mind. Now this is dealing with the spirit realm. Because, you know, when we're dealing with necromancy, we're dealing with communication of the dead. And when we're dealing with the seer is able to see multiple dimensions of reality. So the seer is able to see the 7 different realities in the one whole reality. So the seer you can say the seer has 7 different eyes to peep into 7 different planes of existence or dimensions. So the High Priestess is training you to see into multiple dimensions at once. This is she teaches those sciences. So the dedication, being adamant, comes from the ability to see reality from various dimensions. So again, even if you haven't eaten in 3 days, your faith is unwavering because you can see greater and further than what's right in front of you. You're like, okay, I may have to go 3 days without eating to cleanse myself. Then on that 4th day, I will find success. Whereas, as opposed of somebody who gets unmotivated after that 1st day, they lose their faith after 24 hours. Whereas he will go to his grave before he loses his faith, because he has put in that necessary work to see various dimensions and angles of light that is captured within this reality. Lastly, which keeps you out of, because this is the last step, the Ten of Wands, misery and torment. As you see, the spider is trapped. This creative energy, because again, the spider represents Venus, the spider represents creative energy. But this creative energy needs a vessel. It needs a way to express itself. But because it cannot find a vessel, is trapped because it's looking for a vessel on the outside of itself, right? So to put this all together, one who is fully dedicated has unwavering faith. That unwavering faith comes from knowing the secret occult sciences and the esoteric studies so that you can see multiple dimensions simultaneously. So even if something looks crazy on the physical, you can look at 6 different levels of reality, which keeps your faith from being broken. Because you know, okay, even if I have to go through some type of strife in this physical world, I'm doing it to build up my spiritual essence, my chi or my prana. I need more spiritual energy so that I can find a vessel to express my creative energy. Because you can say this is a representation of a person who does not have enough chi or prana to express themselves because they're looking for things outside of self. Again, this is a person who is complaining that they don't have something. He's complaining that they can't find something. This is a person, again, they're looking for things outside of themselves. And when they can't find it, they begin to trap themselves into a self-created prison because they're looking outside of self. The high priestess say you have to look within. The high priestess teaches you to look within. And when you look within, that's how you build up your dedication and you are relaxed. You're not stressed about the happenings of life. You're not stressed about what the devil is doing, what the wicked people are doing. You don't allow that to waver your faith. So even though there's a lot of drama going on in the world, you remain adamant and dedicated to your faith by having that inner vision so that you don't have to go out into this world looking for a handout, looking for somebody to do something for you. And when they don't do it, now you become miserable and you become tormented by your own thoughts because you have limited yourself because you don't have enough inner vision. So there we go. So you already know the tarot has spoken, the Bible has spoken, the Quran has spoken. So we'll get up out of here. So again, unless y'all have any more questions, we'll get up out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. No problem. Thank everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody for watching. I'll see you, Sierra. No problem. Or Sarah. So we'll definitely be back tomorrow once again. You already know. Just giving more wisdom from different sources. So okay, yeah, we out. Peace.